Welcome back to the next series, that is CA Intermediate Corporate Law. CA Intermediate Corporate Law Sections Revision. I repeat, all the students who are writing in the month of May, CS CA Inter, CA Intermediate, Group 1 especially, or both the groups, but this lecture is related to company law sections. So if you have not watched before part one and part two, make sure you watch. But those sections are very easy. But as the chapters advance, the sections difficulty as well as importance will increase, especially from third chapter in your C Enter Corporate Law. The real syllabus actually starts, and most of the questions. I also told you after this, I will also post some videos related to answer solving, I mean question solving videos. So make sure that you subscribe this channel and encourage your friends to be benefited by this. If in case you are writing very seriously and you really want to score exemption in corporate law. So when I say exemption, every student will take it light, but I'm telling you, it is possible. Some students have already shown that exemption is possible in some subjects like law, etc. All right, let's start. Let's begin now. So the next section in your third chapter is section 23. Section 23 has got four very important subsections. You must remember these subsections as well. I mean to say you have to use the sections according to the question. Always, as I told you in my earlier lecture, when you want to answer company law question, especially case law question, the first paragraph, you must begin your answer with as per section so and so, because your first paragraph gives you more marks out of the total marks that are allotted. If in case the question is for 5 marks, there is every possibility you will have 2.5 marks for the first paragraph, because you clearly show to examiner that this is the case law, this is the concept we understood, or you understood, right? That is very important. So make sure you are very particular about the concept. And needless to say, again and again, I'm telling you, in all C enter subjects, 30 marks MCQs are there. These 30 marks MCQs, I'm telling you, without reading anything, just by listening to the classes and by understanding what the basic concept, you can easily get 30 on 30. Trust me, if you are able to get 30 on 30, your success towards clearing this exam will be very nearby. So be very careful. All right, guys. Okay. Section 23 talks about issue of securities. Section 23 subsection 1 says the public company can raise money from different options. Number one, it can raise money from public, it can raise money from members, it can raise money from employees. Understood? It can raise money from employees, it can raise money from private placement also. When I say public offer, obviously company has decided to raise money from public in general. When I say private placement, company will issue securities to selected group of persons. When I say employees, obviously it will raise money from employees. Understood? And when I say members, it will raise money from members in the form of rights issue. Section 23 subsection 2 clearly says what are the options for private company to raise money. Private company will have all the options except one option, that is raising money from the public. So section 23 subsection 2 clearly states that private company can raise money from the members in the form of rights issue. Private company can raise money from the employees in the form of employee stock options, and private company can definitely raise money from through private placement from a selected group of persons. It's a revision class, so definitely the speed of the lecture will be little more compared to the regular class. So make sure, my objective is, without wasting time, I just want to give you some sections revision so that these sections can be utilized when you're writing case law question as well as MCQ. Section 23 subsection 3, sorry, this is subsection, section 23 subsection 3 clearly prescribes the class of companies that can raise money from foreign stock market directly. Let us understand like this. There is one section which is basically section 41. We'll study that later. Section 41, global deposit receipts is there. Okay, I'll come back to that later. So I'll come back to that later. So until then, you just understand like this. Indian companies can raise money from abroad, usually by issuing global deposit receipts or American deposit receipts. When Indian company wanted to raise equity shares, it has to keep the equity shares with domestic custodian bank, and domestic custodian bank will have an agreement with foreign overseas depository bank. Overseas depository bank will issue securities to foreign investor. When the foreign investor has invested in GDR, global deposit receipts, it's like he has invested in equity shares, though he cannot become shareholder. But recently, central government has given a notification that certain prescribed class of companies can start raising money directly from foreign stock market. That means apparently you need to understand section 23, subsection 3 talks about certain prescribed class of companies can raise money from foreign market directly. But 90% of the cases, most of the Indian companies will raise money from foreign market in the name of global deposit receipts and American deposit receipts that we will study after section 40, 41. Then section 23, subsection 4 clearly says central government has the power to exempt any company from complying from chapter 3 and chapter 4. Chapter 3 talks about prospectus and allotment of shares. That's why in this chapter you will have forms with PAS, prospectus and allotment of securities. The next very important thing is share capital, that is fourth chapter. That means if central government decides, central government can give an exemption from complying chapter 3 and chapter 4. All right. Understood. Now that is section 23. So indirectly, if you want to put a title for section 23, definitely you can put a title as issue of securities. Issue of securities by public company, issue of securities by private company, issue of securities by Indian company abroad directly. Understood. And the central government power to exempt any company from complying chapter 3 rules, regulations, and chapter 4 compliances. All right, quickly move on. Next one, chapter section 24. Section 24 talks about power of SEBI to regulate issue and transfer of securities. Whenever public company raised money, the public company is supposed to get listed their securities on a stock exchange, recognized stock exchange, recognized stock exchange. The moment you raised money from public, SEBI comes into picture. The moment you raise money from public, you get listed. I mean, your securities will get listed on stock market, then automatically SEBI influence and interference will be there. So when it comes to issue and transfer of securities, SEBI guidelines will be followed under section 24. And when it comes to dividend related and redemption of preference related will be regulated by central government, ROC and tribunal. So section 24 talks about who regulates what when it comes to company raising securities from raising money from public, raising money from public. In case of issue and transfer of securities, SEBI guidelines you have to follow. In case of dividend and redemption of preference shares, you have to follow central government, ROC and tribunal. That is the overall syllabus. In every chapter, you will find the what you call directions, guidelines given by central government, ROC, tribunal, so on and so forth. That is section 24. Move on. Next one we have something called section called section 25. Section 25. Understand four important things, and it is very important sometimes even for MCQ. MCQ, it is very important. If in case there is a theory question, there is a possibility you can have theory question as well. For MCQ, it is very, very important. Usually, prospectus is a document that is issued by company. Prospectus is a document that is issued by company in which company ask money from public. It could be a prospectus, could be a document, could be a notice, could be an advertisement, could be a circular. Understood? Could be a brochure, could be anything, could be a booklet also. Usually, when I issue prospectus, I will put a title on top of the prospectus booklet that it is prospectus. Like when you see a textbook, you will have a heading called prospectus. Or suppose when you see a textbook of company law, you will have a heading called Company Law 2013. Similarly, when I issue prospectus, I will put the title as prospectus. But sometimes company issues a document, but a company or anybody on behalf of company. I repeat, company or anybody on behalf of company. I repeat, company or anybody issues a document which is not designated as prospectus. But our first question is any document that is issued to public in which company is requesting public to subscribe the securities without designating it as a prospectus. So the first point meaning is company did not put the title as a prospectus, but company in that document, it is asking money from the public. Then we call it as deemed prospectus. When I say deemed prospectus, if in case there is any misstatement in the prospectus, company is going to be held liable. So when I say deemed prospectus, company is going to be held liable, remember. All right. The next very important thing is it says sometimes company might what you call issue securities through third party. That means third party is basically issue house. That means generally when company issues shares through third party, that is issue house. We also call it as a financial institution or a merchant banker. A to Z, all issue related activities will be taken care of by issue house or a merchant banker who's, I mean, usually banks will be providing this particular service. So therefore, issue house or a merchant banker will issue a document, and that document also shall be treated as what you call shall be treated as deemed prospectus, because the moment I say it is deemed prospectus, whatever money that is raised by issue house has been given to company, and whatever consideration that is raised by issue house has been given to company. So the document that is issued by third party for the sake of raising money for the company, the moment company had a contract with those people, etc. So these 2 points is, document must state the amount net received by so and so, and the document issued by issue house. So first important point is any document that is issued by company, though not designated as a prospectus, but in that document company is asking public to subscribe the securities, it is called as deemed prospectus. Similarly, sometimes company might take the help of a issue house or a merchant banker or a third party. Third party might issue a document to raise the money from the public in the form of securities. That is going to be called as deemed prospectus. When I treat any document as a deemed prospectus, I apparently making company liable for any misstatements or by any frauds in that prospectus. You need a lot of patience in CA. You need a lot of patience. Some of you might be waiting for quick fix solutions. Waiting for quick fix solution doesn't help you at all in this course. The more fun you have in learning this, I'm telling you, will face a lot of problem, because CA is a serious job. Trust me. That is why most of the classes who have got a lot of comedy in the class results are horrible. Entertaining students is okay, but giving results is very important when it comes to CA. And you always do not show interest when the teacher is teaching seriously, because you don't feel that fun. But I'm telling you guys, you will face a lot of issues if you have a lot of fun in the class, because you focus more on the fun, more on the comedy, but you do not focus on the concept. You will lose the concept. Be very careful. The third important thing, fourth one is also there. I'll explain later. Then third important thing is here. Sometimes company will issue document to raise money for members. Say, for example, you are a promoter of company, you have a lot of shares, and you want company to sell those shares for you. So when the promoter or members of the company has decided to sell their shares, they will take the help of a company. They will take the help of a company. When company issues a document to sell securities of the members, it is called offer for sale. See there, it is called offer for sale. It is called what? Offer for sale. Is my point clear? Yes. So that means when the document issued by company, not for the sake of selling the shares of the company, but for the sake of selling the shares of the members, where members will be bearing all the expenses which company has incurred. So that document issued by company for selling member shares in a concept called offer for sale is also called deemed prospectus. Another important point is the deemed prospectus that we will study when we are explaining types of prospectus, especially shelf prospectus. One more point is pending here that I will come back. All right, section 25 says what? Section 25 talks about the document issued by company is a shelf prospectus if in case company is asking money from public. And the document issued by issue house for the sake of company raising money, and that contract is there between company and third party, and that money is also given to company. So for commission, etc. So the document issued by issue house is also deemed prospectus. When we consider any prospectus, any document as a deemed prospectus, though it is not issued by company, we are going to make company liable for all the misstatements and fraudulent activities shown in that prospectus. And the third very important thing I said, if in case company is issuing a document for the sake of selling the securities of members, that is called offer for sale, such document in offer for sale shall be treated as deemed prospectus. If in case you think that this class went very fast, just go back, and it's a recorded class. So make sure you watch it again and again. So my only objective is 30 on 13 MCQs you have to get. And that is my guarantee. A lot of my students in my earlier exams, yes, they have secured 30 on 30 or 28, 29, definitely they got. And scoring the other 20 marks in descriptive questions answering is very easy if you have understood the concept. So don't take anything light. When something is given to you which is going to provide a knowledge, that will not be useless. That is not wasting your time. In fact, when you are studying in between, if you want to watch, you watch, so that It will have some relaxation and it will also have some amount of revision. All right, next one, we have something called Section 26. Section 26 talks about the contents to be stated in the prospectus. The first very important question comes, sir, what are exactly the contents company has to state in the prospectus when it wants to raise money from public? Whatever matters, contents that you're supposed to keep in the prospectus are decided by SEBI. Are decided by whom? SEBI. So section 26 is an elaborate section. There are so many important points in that, almost 7 points I gave you briefly. Number one, it states every prospectus has to be dated. If date is not mentioned, date of publication shall be the date of prospectus, because date of prospectus is very important to know when the offer is closed. The next important thing is it should be signed by those people who are named as directors and authorized represented. Next one, it says it should contain information which is required by SEBI in consultation with central government. Next one, the copy of the prospectus has to be filed with ROC. It should be dated, it should be signed, it should contain the matters according to SEBI. Understood? It should be filed before you even issue this particular document to public. You are supposed to file this with ROC. Next, the prospectus is not valid if it is issued more than 90 days after it is. That means when you filed prospectus to ROC, within 90 days it has to be utilized. In the sense, today if I filed prospectus to ROC, within 90 days I must issue this to public and raise money from the public. If I fail to issue this particular prospectus after it is filed to ROC within 90 days, 101% it is not valid. Then what are you supposed to do? Again, you have to file one more prospectus to ROC. Next, very important, if a statement an expert is included, that means if generally what happens is you raise money for the sake of a particular project. So when you raise money for the sake of a particular project, an expert has to give a consent for that, whether it is viable or not. Expert can be even CA also, or an engineer also, whoever is expert in that field. That means prospectus should state very clearly the consent of the expert for the project which for the project for which company is raising money. Next one, failure to comply can result in substantial fines. Okay. So what it says clearly, it should be dated, it should be signed, it should have contents according to SEBI, it should be filed with ROC. After it is filed to ROC, it has to be utilized by the company in the form of issuing this to public within 90 days. If in case it fails to follow these compliances, yes, there are some, and expert consent statement should be given as it is. So today's sections of physics, 23 is about issue of securities, 24 is about regulation by SEBI and company law, and 25 is about deemed prospectus, 26 is about contents of the prospectus. Am I clear? Yes, guys, you're not wasting time. Those people who are wasting time, you're not willing to become CA. Those people who are thinking that I'm wasting time. No, I'm not wasting time. I know even if one student is benefited by this, it's more than enough to me. The objective of this is not about making money on YouTube channel. The objective of this is to make sure students are enabled to write the exam comfortably. All right. Yes. Next one. Section 27 talks about variation of terms of contracts. That means after issuing prospectus. Normally, when you issue prospectus, you usually mention very clearly the objective for which it is raised. You generally mention the objective for which it is raised. Is my point clear? So now understand carefully, whatever terms and conditions that you already mentioned in the prospectus and the objective that is stated in the prospectus is not supposed to be changed generally. But if you want to change the objective that is mentioned in the prospectus, then you need a special resolution. Means 75% of the members must agree. Next very important thing, suppose you raised money and you have got unutilized money, then you have to give a public notice. That means notice has to be published in the newspapers. Understood? If in case any shareholders disagree, they should be given exit offer. So three very important points in section 27. Section 27 talks about, can company change terms and conditions in the objective that is mentioned already in the prospectus? Yes, company can change the terms and conditions and objectives in the prospectus if company satisfies three very important conditions. Number one, it has to pass special resolution. Number two, it has to be published. Number three, if in case any shareholder has not given consent, the shareholders who have not given consent are called dissenting shareholders. And for them, you have to give them exit option. Exit option in the sense majority shareholders and promoters have to buy their shares and send them off. So section 23, issue of security. Section 24, regulation by SEBI and company law. Section 25, deemed prospectus. Section 26, contents to be stated in the prospectus. Section 27, variation of terms and conditions and the objective that is to be changed if in case after raising money. Section 28 talks about offer for sale. When I say offer for sale, I said very clearly, sometimes company will issue a document to raise money on behalf of members. Some of the majority shareholders or promoters who have got a lot of shares with them, they wanted to sell. When they find it very difficult to sell on their own in the market, they might take the help of company. When they take the help of company and company issues a document, so company raising money for the sake of members is called offer for sale. All the expenses that are incurred by companies shall be borne by members. Only thing is, whatever regular rules that are supposed to be followed when company raises money for company, such as when company raises money, it cannot allot shares unless and until it has minimum subscription, minimum application money, and it has given justification why it has raised money, and also it has to give a statement where funds are utilized. I'm repeating once again. When company raises money, company should satisfy four very important things before allotment of shares. Number one, minimum subscription as specified by SEBI should be raised. Minimum application as stated in the prospectus should be raised, usually 5%, and SEBI states it is 25%. Number three, you must give statement about where the funds are going to be utilized. Number five, you must clearly mention the justification for which you are raising money. So when you raise money for the sake of members, such rules are not applicable here. That means when I raise money for the sake of members, I don't have to give justification why am I raising money. I don't have to give a statement where am I going to utilize this money. I don't have to give a justification whether I raised minimum subscription or minimum application or not. That's it. Application money or not. And we already discussed that the document that is issued by company when it comes to raising money from the public for the sake of members is called as deemed prospectus. See there, any document used to make this offer is called deemed prospectus, and the members selling the shares collectively authorized to complete all necessary actions and expenses. And when the offer for sale is given, rules regarding minimum subscription, minimum application, statements, justification, utilization of funds is not compulsory because company is not raising money for the sake of company. Company is raising money for the sake of members. That is offer for sale, and the document that is issued is called deemed prospectus. Awesome. Yes. Next one, Section 29. Section 29 clearly says every company that is nowadays except private company, every listed or unlisted company. I'm using the general term every listed or unlisted company which wants to raise money from the public. Every listed or unlisted company which wants to raise money from the public shall be raising that money nowadays only through demat account. In the sense it's shares in electronic form. You must have heard about demat account. In demat account, NSDL, CDS play a key role. So the 29 talks about shares must be insured and all the promoter shares of listed company, unlisted company must be converted into demat form. See there, any company that makes a public offer or initial public offer should issue securities in demat form only. Next one, specific classes of unlisted companies. That means government will classify certain unlisted companies. Even they should ensure that all these securities are held and transferred. See, so that means instead of writing all companies which are making public offer, so public companies which are making public offer must issue shares in demat form. Specific class of unlisted companies means it does not include all unlisted companies. The specific class of unlisted companies which are prescribed by government, they should be holding the shares in demat form and they shall be transferring the shares in demat form only. Next one, companies which are not covered under this, if they want to have their shares, like other unlisted companies plus private companies, if they wish to have their shares in a demat form, they can have. But remember, very important thing, demat account is mandatory. Even if government has given an option for certain unlisted companies, I'm using the word certain unlisted companies, if government had given an option to hold shares in physical form, that is remat form, But when they want to sell the shares, nowadays, listed, unlisted companies, when they want to sell the shares, they cannot sell the shares unless and until they have a demat account. Understood? That is section 29. Very simple section for MCQ point. You remember section 30. Section 30 talks about advertisement of the process. Whenever you want to raise money, obviously you want to raise money from the public. How do you expect public to know that you are raising money? How do you expect public to know that you are raising money? So unless and until you have given an advertisement in the newspapers. That means the purpose is that we want to provide essential information to company and to public to raise money, right? So objective is about company operations. You will give liability of the members. You will give, and you will give about amount of share capital. You will also mention about signatories, details of memorandum of association. You will also mention so the total capital, share capital, capital structure, and how much is raised in the form of equity, how much is raised in the form of debt, how much is raised in the form of preference shares, so on and so forth. These things have to be mentioned. These things have to be mentioned when it comes to section 30 advertisement. So obviously you need to understand one very important logical point. Private company need not give, I will repeat, private company need not give advertisement of the prospectus because it doesn't raise money from the public. It doesn't raise money from the public. Section 30 is killed. Let's understand next one, section 31. Section 31 is what? Shelf prospectus. Sometimes you will issue prospectus as shelf. So when you have issued a prospectus as shelf prospectus quickly, when you've issued a prospectus as shelf prospectus, when you've issued prospectus as shelf prospectus, okay, it means this prospectus is valid for 1 year. Instead of using prospectus every time when you go for issue of securities, you will use this prospectus for 1 year. I'm taking an example. Just like in the month of Jan, you have issued a prospectus in the name of shelf prospectus. In the name of shelf prospectus, it is valid for 1 year. That means every time, what is law actually? Every time you issue securities, you must issue prospectus along with the application form. That is must. But when it comes to shelf prospectus, you don't have to issue again and again within 1 year. That means in the month of February, again, you want to raise money, you don't have to issue fresh prospectus and fresh approvals are not needed. Fresh prospectus, fresh approvals are not needed in the month of February. Just issue the same prospectus which was earlier issued as a shelf prospectus. Again, in the month of October, if you want to issue, you can do the same thing. Again, in the month of November, let's say you have issued shelf prospectus. Let us understand one common sense. The common sense is in the month of January, you have issued a shelf prospectus which is valid for 1 year, which clearly means every time within 1 year, if I want to raise money again and again, I don't have to issue prospectus. I can just issue shelf prospectus. But in the month of November, it is almost 11 months. 99% of the cases, company financial position, company business activities, company directors, etc., there will be some change of information which is price sensitive. Comedy is that 11 months, 10 months you passed and you don't have any change in financial statements or financial position of the company. Seriously, there is something wrong with this company. So therefore, what we need to do, company has to issue shelf prospectus plus some information memorandum. Company has to issue shelf prospectus plus information memorandum. Is my point clear? So this information memorandum is also called deemed prospectus. So this information memorandum is basically the document in which you mention the changes that have taken place in the company last 10 or 11 months. Now understand carefully. In the month of October also, some people have actually submitted application forms. Luckily, or whatever reason, I did not allot the shares yet. But again, in the month of November, I issued securities and I also mentioned the information change in information memorandum. What if the people whose shares were not allotted yet, who applied for shares in the month of October, and their shares are still not allotted and they are not happy with the information change? If anybody is not happy with the information change and the share still not allotted, they can be given exit option. I mean, company has to refund their money. Company has to refund their money. So shelf prospectus validity is basically for 1 year, and it is issued to avoid the issue of prospectus again and again and taking approvals for 1 year. And any document that is issued when there is a change of information in the company, that is information memorandum. That information memorandum is shelf prospectus. See quickly, it can be filed with ROC next during this 1 year. Next information memorandum is filed if there is a change, if any material changes are there, etc. Applicants who applied for shares and they don't want to continue because they are not happy with the change of information, then within 15 days you should refund their money. Within 50 days you should 15 days you should refund their money. So my point understood, clear? Yes. Awesome. So sell prospectus, we're done. Next one, red herring prospectus. Let us understand what is this red herring prospectus in quick. So sometimes company issues red herring prospectus. We call it as RHP. RHP will not mention two very important things, that is quantity of shares that company has and price at which it wants to sell. In fact, it provides price band. That means it might say 200 to, let's say, 250 rupees. This is the minimum price and this is the maximum price, floor price, cap price. And company will run a book which is called book building process. So Mr. A would like to invest some money, Mr. B would like to invest some money, Mr. C would like to invest some money, Mr. D would like to invest money, Mr. E would like to invest some money, Mr. F would like to invest. Let's say Mr. A says 10,000 shares at the rate of 220. Mr. B says 20,000 shares at the rate of 250, high price. Mr. C says some 15,000 shares at the rate of 200. He says some 7,000 shares at the rate of 240. He says some 5,000 shares at the rate of, let's say, 210. And he says some 25,000 shares at the rate of, let's say, some 200 and what you call 30, yes, 230. This is book building process. Simple. This section I'm explaining, I'm not going deeper into the concept. So what is red herring prospectus? When the company has issued red herring prospectus under section 32, it does not provide two very important details. That is, it does not provide quantity of shares that it wants to offer and the price at which it wants to sell. Instead, it will provide minimum price and maximum price. This is called price band. And it will create a curiosity. It will create a curiosity among the investors so that they will apply, they will send offers. So different people have sent, and they have even sent a check or bank details, etc. They gave. Let's say now last date is over, company has finalized, let's say 230 price. Company has finalized what? 230 price. Company will finalize such a price at which it will be able to sell all the quantity of shares which only company knows. And obviously, Mr. E, who has sent money for 210 rupees, it will not be allotted. Money will be refunded because company finalized 230. And Mr. D will be allotted shares. Mr. D will be allotted shares and 10 rupees will be refunded because company finalized 230. Mr. C will not be allotted, total money will be refunded. Mr. B will be allotted and 20 rupees will be refunded because company price is 230. And Mr. A also will not be allotted because company has finalized 230. Understood now? So once the final price is finalized, then complete prospectus with all the details will be issued. This is also called book building process and red herring prospectus, which does not contain two details. And the offer has to come from the investors. Awesome. You guys are awesome. When you show patience in listening to the classes, 100% CA students are awesome. IAS, IIT, CA students only have patience, tons and tons, nobody else. Awesome. We finished section 32. If you want this material, call on this number. If you want this material, call on this number 9513333 Bricks Academy. Otherwise, you can visit our website. Oh, numbers are there anyway displayed. Numbers are displayed on the screen. Please call on this number. We will WhatsApp you. whoever you are. Don't worry. This, and if you think this is going to be useful, whether brick student or non-brick student, no issues. We will be giving you. All right, section 33. Section 33 talks about something called abridged prospectus. Generally, when you issue prospectus, prospectus will have to be printed. Printing cost will be very high. Financial statement 3 years means the prospectus 100% it will go more than 200 pages. And company history you have to give. So much of information you have to give in the prospectus. So that definitely increases the number of pages. Is my point clear? That definitely increases number of pages. So it is expensive. What if later on investors did not invest? They just saw the prospectus, they did not invest. So companies have a complaint that when we issue prospectus in full length, uh, it is very costly and sometimes investors may not come back and invest. Just like a school issued a brochure, so many parents have bought the brochure, but many parents did not come back and join. If it is given for free, then it is cost. That's why most of the schools and colleges, they usually charge for the brochure, right? Understood? But now this, what is the solution? One more important thing. Law clearly says, I'm going slow here because these sections are very important. One more important thing, only application form is not valid unless you issue prospectus. That means it so happens, suppose you have come to my academy, I gave an application, you filled up the form, I took the fee and gave you admission. I did not give you any brochure about the academy history and everything. Coaching centers may, it happens. But generally you want to know more about company. So that means law says, beta, no company can issue an application form unless and until it has issued a prospectus. Point number one, no company can issue application form to investors unless and until it has issued prospectus. The second problem is what companies are feeling that it is very tedious affair, costly affair, printing the full length prospectus and issuing. Later on, most of the investors might not turn back and invest. So companies have this issue. So what is the solution? Solution is very simple. Solution is very simple. Company law says, beta, you give summary of the prospectus. You give what? Summary of the prospectus along with the application. So give an application and give a summary, 5-6 pages or 10 pages maybe. Let them submit the application form. The moment they submit application form, then you will give them full length prospectus. Nowadays, so this doesn't work at all. I'm telling you the reason why most of the companies are giving prospectus soft copy only. You got my point. On Demat account, soft copy will be uploaded. So what is abridged process? Summary of the prospectus. Summary of the prospectus that contains details which are very important along with the application form, because law clearly says application without prospectus is not valid. So therefore, what do you do? If you think it is a tedious affair and it's going to be very expensive, what you can do, you can issue a prospectus with summary details along with the application form. Once the investor has shown interest and gave an application form, you can definitely give them full length prospectus. So it is a summarized form of prospectus along with the application form. So 25 is deemed prospectus, 32 is red herring prospectus, 31 is shelf prospectus, 33 is abridged prospectus. So therefore, there are 4 types of prospectuses you have when company raises money from public. Is my point clear? Yes. Please don't forget to subscribe this channel. This will give you a lot of academic information. Coaching centers channels obviously will give you a lot of academic information. Sometimes not only academic information or not only about our batches always. I usually talk very less about our batches. I provide general information that is useful for the students. Have a nice day. Take care. And we'll come up with section 34 to section 41 at a stretch. We'll take some more sections. Have a good day. Take care.